Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about random topics, about the Aljamain Sterling title match. We're going to talk about the Super Rising that just passed, all kinds of stuff. So tune in, check it out. Right on.
1978とある田舎町で生まれて移り住んだ新宿で育ちこの町で起きたこれまでの俺たちのここまでの生い立ちはほんのまた序の口試されたいちいち正してきた過ち騙し合いやからしないはスニッチの始まり放課後の苦惨症児童館にホームアローンそんな時間はほったらかして向かったとある場所
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Yamatodamashii podcast. My name is James, of course, joined by Enson Inoue. Enson, how are you doing today, man?
Good. Always doing good. Feeling really good. Loving the morning cold plunge every morning. Loving the workouts. Doing good.
Let's touch on the cold plunge first, because I kind of said this to you in a comment on Instagram about how when I was in Portugal recently, I went in the sea and it was super cold. The ocean, it was about 12 degrees. And I came out thinking, fuck, that's really cold. And then I was seeing you do like 4 degrees and forcing yourself in there for like 2-3 minutes. I don't know.
The coldest the cold plunge was a couple of days ago. It was 4.1.
Wow.
Yeah, it's of course, there's no matter whether it's 12 degrees or 4 degrees, it's shitty getting in. But once you get in and you go through the 90-second mark, it starts actually feeling good.
Yeah, I imagined in my head the reason you kind of liked it is because it's all about that mental test, right? In terms of like pushing yourself, break the barrier. And I figured if anyone's an expert at that, then it's right up your street, right? So
something about making yourself do something that's really uncomfortable and something you don't want to do, but making yourself do it is I don't know. Sometimes it's like a little challenge. It's like a little, almost like a conquering a little obstacle every day.
Yeah, I agree. So we're gonna just blast through a couple of topics. Some MMA, some others. One thing I did want to touch on first was what was going on in Maui right now, because I only see so much in the news being here over in the UK. But I imagine for you, it's so close to home, right? That I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts and impressions on what's going on out there.
Yeah, for one, it's super unfortunate that what's happened. I mean, I've been to that town, Lahaina town. It's an old school, real historic town of Maui. And to think that it's gone is just unfathomable right now. And the crazy thing is, here you're hearing all these reports on the reports you're hearing about is, there's this group called FEMA that you got to be something about you have to become a member to get food from them or something. I don't know. It's like something really weird. And they've locked down where people can't get in and out, even people wanting to bring supplies. Some people can't even get to their homes to assess their damage or check stuff. I mean, some of the things you hear is like, I understand that it's probably chaotic right now. And, a lot of people, the organizers with the food and everything, there's probably a lot of shit they got to go through. But wow, it's just blocking the people from going back to their homes and blocking people with supplies. I just have a hard time, juggling the fact what's more important, organization or, the fact that people really need supplies and water and, the basic necessities.
Yeah, it just looks awful. I think that I read the death toll was nearly up to 99 people or something, which is...
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to get into the thousands for sure, because there's so many people missing right now.
Yeah. What are some of the ways that people can help? Because I know sometimes with these crises, it's always hard to navigate where the best place if people want to make donations. Is there any ones that you personally would recommend?
Yeah, well, the thing with the donations is there's a lot of places that are fake donation places trying to scam people. And what I do is I trust Eliminate McFarlane. So she, on her Instagram, she's posting a lot on where they can donate. She has a foundation also that you can donate to if you go onto her Instagram or Facebook. I don't know if she has Facebook. Her Instagram, you can find out where to actually donate or give some help somehow.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find the link and put it in the description, just if anyone does want to give and help out in a really, really unfortunate situation. But
unbelievable. Yeah. Did you hear the newest news is that you know how people's houses burnt down, so they only have the land left? Yeah. Wow. There's actually investors and realtors actually calling the families, offering them to buy their land.
Wow.
Isn't that unreal? People are just taking advantage of these situations. They're not even letting them grieve. They're trying to, they don't have a house. They don't have any money to rebuild. So they're trying to take advantage of that and trying to get their land. It's like, fucking stop it, man. You give these people space, man.
You imagine picking up the phone to that. You've just lost your house and that you get a phone call, someone saying someone wants to buy.
Yeah, you want to buy your land? We're offering you money to sell your land. Like, fucking A, man.
I imagine when you're there next week, right? There'll be a lot of, you'll probably hear and see much more, right?
Yeah, well, Maui's a different island, so I don't know how much information I'll actually get, but I think the Hawaii news would be more something that I would be watching a lot of. BJ Penn seems like he's really involved in it, helping out, so I might actually touch bases with him and find out what he heard and what he knows.
I saw you post what Dana White said about Hawaii and the efforts that they're doing.
He's donating $1 million, man. Oh.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah, people give Dana so much shit, but something like that is pretty nice. Like,
yeah.
People need to give credit.
I think he responded to the Instagram post. He gave a thumbs up. Yeah.
Oh, did he? Nice, good.
That's
good.
Yeah.
He knows his Hawaiian legends. So, cool. So there's a number of different things to kind of touch on. I don't even know where to start, but I want to go back to some recent announcements, some MMA announcements. Let's go with first Tsuyoshi's next fight, because that obviously got announced, right? Tsuyoshi is going to be fighting Todd Duffee. Is there anything you can tell fans about the fight?
Well, Todd Duffee, as soon as I heard the name, I already knew who it was. I don't remember his fights, but the name was enough to know that that's somebody prominent. And yeah, he's a very athletic, explosive person, very strong fighter. And I believe it was going to be Tsuyoshi's biggest test.
Really?
Wow. So yeah, looking forward to it. I mean, Duffy's a tough guy. He comes in to scrap. And if you watch his fight with who did he fight again? The one he fought, Frank Mir. I mean, he's willing to stand in the pocket and throw down, So it'll be a good test. It'll be a good win or lose. It'll be a great experience for Tsuyoshi.
Yeah, I'm feeling confident in Tsuyoshi. I mean, maybe it's just seeing him train in Thailand and seeing that up close in person, but he's a freak athlete sometimes, I think. And we
worked with him today, we went and trained today, and he's looking super good.
Yeah, I just always think it comes back to he's got the athleticism. When you put in your work in, especially in like the mental game, keeping him confident in the fight, keeping him together, keeping him composed, I think it's a winning combination. And I'm excited to see, because it's been a while since he's last fought as well. So I'm looking forward to see the improvements in his game and what he's going to bring. So.
Yeah. He's just getting in better shape. It's amazing his body changes.
Yeah. Yeah. If anyone's never looked at his Instagram, he does all this athletic stuff. Where does he do that in Japan?
There's a training centers that he goes to. And the last one he just posted on Instagram, man, you see how agile that guy is?
Yeah. It's crazy.
That doesn't look like a heavyweight running around like that.
The other thing that RIZIN announced was RIZIN going to Azerbaijan. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? What happened to Hawaii? Let's come to Hawaii. What the fuck? Hawaii sounds like it's gonna be next year.
Next year. Okay, cool. Yeah. I with Azerbaijan, I really want to go to that show. Unfortunately, they booked it on the wife's birthday weekend, so yeah, I'm
I
not
was gonna
sure.
say if you go, I can probably message them, see if they can get you tickets.
Ah,
My wife, you take her to somewhere. You take her somewhere for her birthday.
I'm working on it, but I don't know. For her, Azerbaijan's not exactly on her bucket list, so but we'll try. We'll try.
Well, happy spouse, happy house, So
Exactly.
maybe she make you happy. She'll have.
I've been watching Saki Kabara's Instagram, and now he's become like this influencer, right? Where he's posting all sorts of stuff, and I saw him like going down a slide in the shopping mall, stuff like that. So maybe I'll convince her with some of his posts.
Stuff, yeah.
He's always eating, right?
Yeah.
It's funny, man. He's suddenly like flipped the switch, and he's a non-stop poster, posting all the time. Hilarious. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what they do with that card. Did you have any thoughts on that last RIZIN card? I mean, the big one for me was Chihiro Suzuki knocking out Pitbul. Fucking insane,
that was.
right?
I thought he did exactly what he should have done. Nothing to lose, just go for it.
Yeah, balls to the wall, right?
I did kind of feel sorry for Pitbull because he was actually there to corner.
Mm.
And I guess somehow he was talked into taking that fight. Of course, Chihiro, he didn't do well in the RIZIN before, so he was probably approached to Pitbull as an easy fight. So I really hope Pitbull got paid well for that.
Yeah, no, it was definitely kind of last minute, sort of 5 days notice, I think, right? But yeah, there's been tons of other stuff going on. We saw Justin Gaethje become the BMF champion. How did you like that knockout?
It's been that long. I didn't realize that. Whoa. Yeah, that. I love both of them are warriors, but I like Gaethje's humbleness. I like his style. I like how he's straight real. He's a real person. Doesn't get overwhelmed with the fame and the status that he has. So I love his style of fighting. I love who he is, and I was super stoked that Gaethje actually pulled it off. So not the UFC champion yet, but there's a title, the title that a lot of people want to try and grab, the BMF.
Yeah. So lightweight continues to get exciting. We got the rematch of Oliveira versus Makhachev. Everyone's favorite Conor McGregor gave a bit of a timeline. I don't know if you saw that. He said Michael Chandler, I think December. Then he wants Gaethje, and then he wants the champ, I think. So
yeah, it's like December. Yeah, didn't he miss the USADA pool, the timing to be fighting this year?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I guess he knows something we don't know about getting an exemption. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Conor McGregor gets an exemption, knowing how this business is and how Brock Lesnar gets an exemption. A lot of people with the clout and the clout to sell tickets and sell pay-per-view somehow get exemptions. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to probably get one.
This time it's so public though. The Brock Lesnar thing kind of went like under the rug, didn't it? Until it came out after.
Yeah, it did.
Whereas this time
That's
it's like
true.
all everyone's talking about. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with him and when his next fight could be. Speaking of controversial characters, we also had Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul. I don't know. Did you see that boxing match?
Yes, I did, man. And my take on that is Jake Paul's getting good.
Pretty good boxer.
Yeah, he's training hard. You got to give props to him. He's training hard.
Yeah.
And Nate Diaz, I don't know. I just his quantity, his quantity of punches that he was actually banking on. And I guess he was also banking on Jake getting tired, but Jake was doing pretty good, stayed in there. It was actually exciting. the knockdown that Jake got, which was a nice punch to the temple, was really unfortunate because up until then it was really up and up, and if there wasn't for that knockdown, it would be an interesting decision.
I think I think it was Gilbert Melendez, Nate's training partner, summed it up best, where he said that if it goes to the decision, Jake Paul wins, but if it goes to the death, Nate Diaz wins.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Like if they just kept fighting and fighting, then.
Yeah, Nate Diaz is a tough SOB, man. He, after getting knocked down, he still started stalking him, started coming in.
Yeah.
That was a good fight.
I wonder what he does next, whether they do this MMA fight in PFL or whether I don't know, Nate goes back to the UFC or
$10 million. Nate, go fight him in MMA, beat him for $10 million, man. I love how Nate went and guillotined him.
Yeah. Had that get that photograph moment.
Yeah, that was too funny.
You think how hard that is with boxing gloves as well, right? Like,
well, when you're not expecting it, I mean, people are going to say like, "Oh, how easy he got it in," but you're not supposed to do that in boxing. Of course, you're going to get it in pretty easy.
Yeah. On the PFL note, one thing I've been dying to ask you about, and it's kind of old news, but still hasn't technically happened. There's rumors of PFL buying Bellator. Like, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this.
Well, I don't know what I have heard. Haven't heard anything about it, but apparently the Coker's even talking about it. So apparently it's legit. And my thoughts on it is the only concern I have is this collaboration with RIZIN and Bellator still continue, because I love the collaboration with that, and I don't want to see that dissolve.
Yeah, because they've got Bellator 300 coming up, but I don't know whether they've got anything else coming up after. So I don't know, but I hope not.
I hope it doesn't affect it.
Yeah, I don't really like the rule set in PFL, like the whole no elbows, and it's just a bit. Sometimes
is that right? I didn't know that. No elbows in PFL.
Yeah, it's a bit restrictive, right? So it's kind of, I don't know.
I wonder what's going to change, if they're going to change keep the same rule set or change it for Bellator rule set.
Yeah, I don't know. But no, I was hoping
it got the RIZIN rule set, but it looks like it might go the opposite way, huh?
I think so. I think if PFL make the purchase, it's going to be something different. But I don't know. There's lots of rumors. It's Todd Atkins one, right? He's the one that's like dying on this sword about it, and I've seen him battling against all the other MMA journalists. So he's either going to take a big W or a big L, but let's see what happens.
Yeah.
What do you think about Sean Strickland getting the next title fight over Derek Duprice after that big hype of that fight, and then DDP saying he's injured?
Well, I would rather have had Duprice get the chance because he looked really good. But if he's injured and he doesn't want to fight, I mean, I love Strickland. I just love how real he is and how he says stuff that everyone wants to say but won't say it, too afraid to say it. And I don't know. He's just such a scrapper. He got good stamina. He has good work quantity. So I mean, I kind of want to see that. I mean, I think Izzy's just too good, but you never know, man. Strickland comes in real strange ways, and he I wonder if his shit talk will get Izzy too excited or angry. I mean, Sean Strickland fighting someone, especially something that big for the title, is always interesting because you don't know what to expect, and you're not going to know what he's going to say or what he's going to call, what way he's going to come at him. So it's kind of like I kind of looking forward to fight week coming in where they get more interviews and we get to see what he says, the press conferences like that.
Some of the stuff that comes out of his mouth, though, I see him say stuff like, I don't know, like how much is in serious and how much in jest. I kind of always take it with like a pinch of salt, right? Because some of the stuff he says, like, women shouldn't vote.
He's not trying to play a character. He's just being him.
Yeah.
I met him at the.
Oh, okay.
The first time I met him in Couture's, I didn't really know who he was. And he just started talking. And when he was talking, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I actually went and asked him his name. So what is your name? He says Sean Strickland. I said, oh, I'm gonna remember that name. I'm gonna follow you, man, because you're funny, man. He's super funny.
That's funny. I didn't ask you like what he's talking about as well.
What's that?
What was he saying? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember, but it was something crazy.
So, that's funny. And that's when the cameras aren't on as well, right? So it's
no cameras on. So there was no media, no nothing like that. But he was still just saying some shit that was so like, oh my God, I can't believe he's saying this.
Wow.
But it was real. It was real shit he was saying.
Okay. So he's not a Colby Covington then sort of thing where you kind of feel like, oh, it's a gimmick. It's kind of, this is just who he is.
No, he's not like Colby Covington where he's trying to play the villain or trying to act like a dick. Or Chael Sonnen where he tries to, be something for the public. But this guy's real. That what you see is what you actually get.
Fair enough. Cool. This is a mental one, right? And I think when people first heard this, no one thought it was true. But what are you thinking about this whole Mark Zuckerberg versus Elon Musk situation?
I do want to watch it, but I don't want to see it in the UFC.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like it even when what's that guy's name that fought in the UFC? The pro wrestler,
CM Punk.
CM Punk, yeah, even him. You got these fighters that's been training their whole lives trying to get into UFC, and you got guys like CM Punk that got his name from pro wrestling coming in and just getting a UFC shot. No, make him earn it. Make him fight the smaller associations and get a good record, and then work his way in like everyone else does. Elon Musk and Zuckerberg. I mean, I'm glad they're serious about fighting, but I mean, do it in another promotion. UFC is for the real fighters, and I think to be in the UFC, to be a UFC fighter, is a prestigious thing. And these guys that are just multimillionaires that just have the clout, they're going to be able to say in the same breath that there was a UFC fighter, which is not fair for all the fighters that really train and make sacrifices to actually become a UFC fighter. I do want to watch it, but I don't like to see it in the UFC.
Well, it's kind of changed a little bit, right? Because originally Dana was talking about it and talking about promoting it. And one of the things that I like was he was saying, if it happens, we'll have like a really great undercard to showcase, because so many people that aren't MMA fans will come and watch it, and then they'll maybe see these guys fight and become fans. So I thought that was cool. But I totally get your point about, it feels weird to see these guys in the UFC, and it takes away from what the fighters have to go through, right, to get to that place.
That's the only thing I just feel is, I mean, I think Dana has pushed the fact that, real fighters are in the UFC. There's no gimmicks. There's none of this circus act. And of course, Brock Lesnar gets an instant title shot, and you got guys like CM Punk fighting in it. So, of course, there's a little bit of leniency on that, but both fighters are totally not fighters.
Yeah.
And are going to be able to fight. It's all about, like we know that now, though. It's all about the money. How Conor McGregor gets to call shots and stuff. It's a lot about who can sell the tickets, who can make the money, which in a business standpoint, I understand. There's a fine line you have to draw where this is a real fight association. You keep only real fighters, but then it's a business and it needs to make money, so that's my opinion just watching from the outside. But being in Dana's shoes where he has to make sure the company is making money and selling tickets and selling pay-per-views, that's a whole nother approach and a whole nother view that he's looking at it.
Yeah, it would definitely be different for the UFC, right? Because when you think back to even someone like CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, they're still coming from like a sports background, I suppose. Like it's pro wrestling, but it's still very physical, right?
True.
Yeah, where I don't think we've never had like an actor in the UFC or anything. Like it would be completely different, this one. So
did Herschel Walker actually fight in the UFC too? As far as, I mean, of course he's a sports figure, but he fought was it Strikeforce?
Herschel was Strikeforce.
Yeah, okay.
But he had a lot of fights, right? Didn't he have at least like I can't remember what was his record in the end. It was like 5-0 or something like that.
Well, yeah, I think he did pretty good. I mean, he was a little older. Yeah, I think he showed in his movements, but that guy's just a super athlete. He could pull it off at that age.
Yeah. He made his MMA debut at 47. Oh no, it's 2-0. Sorry, my bad. Oh no, that's what the UFC's website says. But yeah, no, I do. Those are some crazy times, right? When Herschel Walker making MMA debut. But then we used to see that as well, like Jose Canseco, the baseball player, right? That was
oh, that's right. Yeah, he fought. Yeah.
Yeah. It's some crazy to see some of these crossovers. What do you make of this whole Wonderboy situation?
Well, I agree with Wonderboy. I mean, I've never, for me, my whole era was different. I was fighting for life and death, trying to kill or be killed. So, of course, if I'm training to be able to fight to the death with somebody that's a professional athlete that's trying to kill me, I would not want to change. Agreement's agreement. You make weight, you don't make weight. I'm not taking a fight. And I don't think it should be a decision of the fighter. I think it should be the promotion's rule that if you don't make the contract weight, the fight's off, period. It shouldn't be thrown in the fighter's hands. Like the UFC does right now is they give a percentage of the fighter, a percentage of the purse of the opponent to the fighter, and he got to make the decision if he's willing to take the fight or not. I don't think it should be on the fighter's discretion to take the fight or not. The rules are the rules. If you're contracted to fight at this weight, he misses weight, you don't go to the fighter and say, hey, he missed weight, he broke the contract, are you still willing to fight him? No. It's done. You missed the weight, you're done. You don't fight. You lose the fight. And that's understandable that Wonderboy didn't want to take the fight. And as far as the payment, it's one of those things that I think the contract, if we're going to go on the contract and say that the guy didn't make weight, you're going on the contract and you're not going to fight because he didn't make the weight. It's the same thing. It's in the contract. If you don't fight, you don't get paid. So I believe that the manager should actually have a clause in there that if the fight doesn't continue because of something the opponent did wrong, he should be paid his show money. I don't think it's in the contract, so I don't think Wonderboy really has a say in that. I agree that the UFC. I mean, Dana said it though. Dana said that we're going to have to talk about it because maybe they'll compensate for what he lost, but he didn't fight. He can't expect to be paid. I mean, regardless of the offer to fight, he turned it away. That's his discretion. The fact that he didn't fight, the contract says your show money, you get paid if you show up to fight, and you didn't finish the contract where you didn't fight. So, that's a double-edged sword, and on the rules is the rules.
Yeah, it's tricky. It is really. Yeah, I see what Wonderboy's justification for not taking it was kind of, he said he'd been in that situation before, right, with Darren Till, and then he lost the fight. So it's hard. But then I see what you mean.
That's huge right now for his career. A loss could actually set him back where he probably would be so much further from a title match. And you got to figure too, Darren Till, I remember him not losing to Darren Till. I totally forgot that Darren Till missed weight. So that the opponent missing weight pretty much goes off the radar.
Yeah, it's so true, right? It goes out your head, right? It's like a story for 24 hours. You don't think of it when you look at the records. So yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, it's interesting to see who they put him up against next. But next, there is a really good card this weekend from the UFC. UFC in Boston. And the main event is Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling. And I'd love to hear a prediction from you, if that's possible.
I think Aljamain has too much of a well-rounded game. I think his standing's good, not as good as O'Malley. I think O'Malley just has impeccable timing and distance, plays the distance really well. But I think Aljamain's takedowns are going to probably overwhelm O'Malley. In order for O'Malley to connect with the strikes, he has to close distance. And if Aljamain is such a good wrestler that if he has enough distance, he can take him down. And on the ground, I don't think O'Malley will be able to hang with Aljamain on the ground. So percentage-wise, I don't think O'Malley has a chance. And, the thing is, O'Malley hasn't really been tested.
He had the Peter Yan fight, but a lot of people thought he didn't win that fight.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to see. I mean, he beats Aljamain, then he's the real deal, you know.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm leaning towards picking O'Malley as well. I'm not sure.
Good. We're at the table.
I think the thing that I always have in the back of my head with Aljamain, I always have in my head that knockout loss that he received from Marlon Moraes, and I know it's like sort of 5-6 years ago, but that always plays a part. And I always think Sean O'Malley's so good at finding people's chin. Like even Peter Yan, that someone that looked like invincible, he still managed to touch him and even rock him. So it's hard because the other thing as well, and it's no disrespect to O'Malley's camp, but Sterling, just like, I mean, he's training at Extreme Couture, he's training with Sarah Longo, he's really like training with the best, right? So when you have those like world-class camps, it's hard to pick against that, but I'm going to anyway. So I'm going to pick O'Malley.
I don't think that the Peter Yan fight is a good comparison to gauge on what you think he's going to like. He touched Peter Yan, but Peter Yan does not threaten him in a takedown at all.
True. Yeah.
When you got to worry about a takedown from like someone like Aljamain Sterling, your standing is hard to be the same. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and Sterling's so good at finding people back.
The chance that O'Malley has is he starts connecting in the beginning. And then what he has to do is connect enough to make Aljamain hesitate the takedown. If he doesn't connect in the beginning and Aljamain just gets that groove on the takedowns, it's going to be a long night for O'Malley, I believe. Who's the favorite on the betting?
Sterling. So.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. In fact, I was looking at odds, and if you're looking just at the main events, if you went for Sterling and Lemos, Zhang Weilei's opponent, who they're coming in, there was pretty good odds. I think if I put £10 on, I get 100 back. So it's like what, 10-1. But if they both win,
I think that's two good bets too.
That's not a bad underdog bet, right?
The Brazilian late girl has a good chance to beat. Yeah. She hits hard apparently. I think she hits harder than Wei Li. And you know, Wei Li's shin has been proven to be susceptible.
Right. That's what I was thinking. So I may place that wager. I don't know. We'll see.
Do like freaking 100 pounds.
Yeah. The other fight is quite interesting is Chris Weidman returns from injury. So he's coming back after that freak leg kick accident. And he's fighting Brad Tavares. So I'm interested in that fight as well because Brad's
that's
super
a great
game,
fight for Brad, man. I'm a Brad fan all the way, man. Brad Tavares all the way, man. And I think when I look at that fight, I think Brad's going to win because he's Brad, and that's going to be a huge win for him. That's a big name on his resume, man.
I know. I was super surprised they gave Weidman such a tough fight to come back to, because
Brad ain't no kick pushover, man. Brad's going to come out blazing.
No, yeah. I mean, and I think I heard it. Was it been 13 years Brad had been in the UFC, and you just think. I think so. I'd have to like double check it, but I'm pretty sure they said 13 years he's been in the UFC. And you think about how hard it is to maintain, to be in a division and not get cut or, look to retire or anything like that. That is a crazy good stat if that's true. So
good, man. Yeah.
To have that sort of tenure in the UFC as well, in the middleweight division, nonetheless, it's a pretty competitive division, but Brad's for everyone. So, but that's Brad's a good.
He's a good fighter, man.
But yeah, it's a tough one for Weidman to come back. I always think it was so like what? How in the universe does this happen that Chris Weidman fights Anderson Silva? Anderson Silva has that horrible leg break. Then Chris Weidman goes on and fights Uriah Hall, and then has that horrendous leg break. Like, what are the chances out of all the MMA fights that it happens?
I know.
Like, so weird. It's like some sort of karma or something. Like what's Weidman been doing? Like,
it's that storyline.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a horrible injury to come back from, but interesting to see how he does. So that's this weekend, I'm running out of topics. Anything else that springs to mind?
No, not really. I think we covered a lot of topics.
How was your talk show the other day? You were with what's his name? Noburu.
Asahi.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was interesting. We covered the history of how jiu-jitsu came to Japan.
Wow. Cool.
And then we talked about Asahi used to work at my gym, Purebred. And he was one of our top fighters. So we talked about a lot of those little stories on stuff that happened at the gym. Hilarious shit, man. There's a lot of stories that I totally forgot happened. And he brought them up and I was like, oh my God, that's right.
Any that you can share for some of the hardcore JMA fans?
One was when he knocked out one of his old neighbors that pissed him off because he kept. This guy was a little bit simple, and he would ramble and talk to himself. And one day, when Asahi was in a bad mood, he was walking out of his apartment to the gym, and this guy was behind him, like grumbling about stuff. And he just got sick of it, turned around, punched him in the face, knocked out his teeth. We're talking about a lot of those kind of stories. It's so funny.
It's really funny. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, we've got it's been a while since we've done a podcast, so apologies for everyone that was waiting. We're gonna try and get back track, do some more, get some more content, maybe book in some more guests. I did see someone in the comments, Josh Gage, who watches a lot of our stuff. He said about doing a name association part 3, which
never done that again.
Yeah, that could be fun. The first 2 we did were a right laugh. So maybe it's worth he's actually giving us a list of names as well. So that could be fun. Yeah. So but yeah, I hope everyone enjoys this episode. Like I say, if you do have any sort of comments or suggestions, let us know. But yeah, anything else?
That's it. Looking good.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll speak again soon.
Right. Shoot. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. If you have any suggestion on what we can do better, or you have any comments on what we talked about, please write in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Right, cowgirl? Right? Yeah. Hurry up and subscribe, everybody. Right on.